Hello there, welcome back. This is Sheepishly here once again. It's been a while, but with 3.26 right around the corner, I thought I would do a quick video just to chat about what I'm going to be league starting as, which is of course Poisonous Concoction of Bouncing Pathfinder. I know, it is a bit of a meta build, but from my testing, it is one of the most comfortable and smooth league starters, and you definitely won't be disappointed if you join me in starting Pathfinder Poisonous Concoction. Now, there's a lot of good guides out there for how to progress through early maps, how to gear up to reach your 4 Void Stones, or even how to challenge pinnacle bosses on Poison's Concoction of Bouncing, so I won't go too much into that, but what I would like to focus on today is actually leveling the build. More specifically, how do we level through Act 1 to 3, because I think this is actually the weakest part of the build. Now, hopping over to Path of Building, just showing kind of like a level 12 tree. Now, level 1 to 12 is actually one of the weakest part of the build, because we don't get Poisonous Concoction until level 12. So what we want to do here, and if you go to the notes section of my Path of Building, which I will link in the comments below, you can see I have some very useful tips for going through the early campaign. The most important thing about starting Ranger is that you actually have several choices, all depending on what weapons you get. If you get a nicely rolled Corroded Blade, which is a two-handed sword, you should definitely try Spectral Throw, or if that's not your cup of tea, Splitting Steel and Frost Blades are all viable choices. Alternatively, if you get a very nice Claw, Venom Gyre is also a very strong spell to use before level 12. If you get a good rare bow plus a quiver, you can also try to use Caustic Arrow, but in my opinion that's probably the weakest of the choices. From a passive tree perspective, you want to pick up all these projectile damage nodes, come down here to take Primal Spirit. The reason we take Primal Spirit over Heart of Oak here is because it gives us 20 Strength and Intelligence and really helps to solve our early game attribute requirements. Afterwards, don't get baited by the other POBs you see. What you really want to do is come over and take Replenishing Remedies. Now, I have seen some early game POBs flying around that comes to take Quick Step or even Field Medicine, but from a comfort perspective, I'm telling you, taking Replenishing Remedies for the Life Flask gain charges per 3 seconds, it's really nice when you're playing Poisonous Concoction. Especially, and let me quickly go over to the level 24 POB for when we transition to Poison Concoction. We're trying to link it with Volley and lesser multiple projectiles. Using both of these support gems, even though it is technically the highest damage and clear, it will drain your life flask quite quickly. So from a comfort perspective, I would recommend everyone to come in and pick up Replenishing Remedies. It's just nice not having to worry about running out of life flask charges during boss fights. After that, we're gonna head down south. You can pick up some life here as well, or even movement speed, but I prefer to make a rush towards Precise Technique. Precise Technique is a very strong note to take in the early game, despite the fact that we're playing a poison skill. The reason being, in the early game, the majority of our damage is still coming from the hit damage rather than the poison itself. We will unspec this note eventually, but for the vast majority of the campaign, I recommend playing with it, as it makes your clear so much more comfortable. Now, it is not always easy to sustain Precise Technique. You have to make sure your accuracy is higher than your maximum life. The way we do it is with a fairly low level precision. I try to leave my precision at around level 4 or 5. I find that's more than enough to sustain the Precise Technique requirements. Talking a little bit more about skill choices. So once we swap to Poison's Concoction at level 12, we're going to link it with Volley and lesser multiple projectiles as the standard. We're going to be looking out for a red-green circuit for shield charge and faster attacks. Frost Blink is also a fantastic skill just to supplement shield charge and for getting over ledgers and stuff like that. From an aura perspective, we're going to pick up Precision from Act 1 like we discussed before, and Herald of Agony from Act 2 to round out our poison chances. And in terms of curses, until we get access to Despair in Act 3, Sniper's Mark is what we're going to use to give a tiny little boost to our damage. Moving on to Act 3, you want to pick up Vicious Projectiles as the force link for Poison's Concoction whenever you get it. In terms of auras, we want to pick up Haste just to make the campaign a little bit faster. On bosses, I like to switch to Malevolent for a little bit of extra damage. For curses, we're going to drop Sniper's Mark for Despair, and if you want to, you can pick up Plague Bearer and Blood Rage, but these are completely optional. Your Poison's Concoction should be able to kill and clear well enough without these two to supplement it. In terms of skill tree, we're going to continue down towards the Duelist area, again different to a lot of the other POBs you might see, and the reason why we want to come down this end is for point blank. Again, in the early campaign, the vast majority of the damage is coming from the hit damage rather than poison, especially for a skill like PCONC, which gets a lot of flat damage scaling from your life flasks. This area is also super efficient. We have some very high quality life nodes right over there. We can come over here to pick up onslaught nodes to make our campaign go even faster, and we can also go north here for some very nice accuracy and elemental resistance nodes. I think resistance on tree is underrated, especially in a league start scenario where for the first day you're not gonna get very good rare gear. Even if you go on trade, you can spend a couple chaos, you're either gonna get resistance gear with no life or life with very shitty resistances. So picking up some all res from nodes like this on the tree and from helping Alira, it's all gonna help you in the gearing process and help you push towards red maps that much faster. From an ascendancy perspective, for your normal lab, you want to take Nature's Adrenaline first, just to really focus on our flask sustain. Moving right along to the level 68 loadout, I have this tree here. The key difference here, we're going to drop Point Blank as well as Precise Technique and pick up more of these poison nodes up in the Ranger area. So we will path over to Intuition, pick up Herbalism, we will pick up the poison node here, accuracy node there. The Thrill of the Battle is actually an excellent node for both mana sustain as well as a bit of reservation efficiency to feed in more auras. We also come over to Survivalist, again one of my favorite nodes, just free resistances for early game to help with gearing. We're also going to come over here and pick up some spell suppression and make sure to click the spell suppress is lucky. For a softcore player like me, something like an 86% spell suppression is more than enough for day 1, and of course you can always pick up a tiny little bit of suppression on gear to help cap this towards 100%. Next, we're going to keep on going north, pick up another poison node, a little bit of more leech, as well as blood drinker for a little bit more sustain whilst mapping. Now, this little cluster here with Trick Shot as well as the Projectile Mastery for increased damage for each time you have chained, you don't actually want to pick this up until you've transitioned to PCONC on Bouncing. So you can get PCONC on Bouncing in one of two ways. You can farm it from lab yourself. That's definitely the solo self-found approach. For me though, I really hate lab, so I'm just going to be trying to progress Atlas and probably pick up the gem for 10-15 chaos once people start to put them up on trade. In terms of ascendancy, before you kill Katava, make sure you pick up Nature's Reprisal as well as Master Toxicist. With these two ascendancy nodes as well as all the poison nodes allocated on your tree, we're now a complete poison character, and we're gonna have a very good time progressing through the Atlas. Okay, that's about it for today. I do have a little bit more information written out in the notes section, so please give that a read and feel free to comment below if you have any questions as well. I wish you all a good league start for the weekend, and I cannot wait to see what GGG has cooked up for 3.26. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye bye.